Hey guys, welcome to another video. Okay, so in this video we're going to be talking about another data type, which is the Boolean data type. Okay, so what do we have on the Boolean data type? Okay, so the Boolean data type consists of two values, which are true, excuse me, true and false. Now these two values are what make up the Boolean data type. Okay, so when you have a code, you're writing a code, an expression in Python or in any programming language, you would like to know if the output of that code is either true or false. Okay, so that is what the Boolean data type does. It's it brings out the output of the code. Like now we have two. Okay, let's create a variable equals to 2 is greater than 3. Okay, so if we print a, what we have to get is false. Why? Because 2 cannot be greater than 3. But if you say 2 is less than 3, then the output of the code will be true. You also have 2 equal to 3. Okay, so the output of the code will be false because 2 is not equal to 3. Let's say 2 is not equal to 3. These are the operators. True, 2 is not equal to 3. So sorry, it's a mistake. So these expressions, okay, so what booleans consist of two values, true or false. So it helps for these expressions to kind of bring out if the expression is true or not. You can be working with, let's say, a user imputes a data, like let's say A is the user imputed data. Let's say the user imputes a data of his name, John, and you have to check if his name matches with the name maybe you are currently looking for or that is in some of the database, let's say James. So you will now be like, if A, let's say the user imputed A is equal to B, which is the one that's already in the database, print correct. Else, if it's not, incorrect. So what is to come out of here is incorrect because John, it's not James. You see, incorrect. But if we are to change this and change it to John, it will bring correct. So what this code right here is saying is that if John is James, which the output is true, which the output is true, if the output of this code is true, then do this. But if the output is something else, do this. You can now also put for false if it can be if not, that is, you are like saying if the output of this code is not true, is not, that is, it is false. So if the output of this code is false, you print incorrect. So you run this, correct, that is saying John and John are the same. So I hope you're not getting confused. I hope you understand what I'm saying right here. Let me go through it again. I'm saying if not A is equals to B, that is if not, if is another way of saying if this thing right now, if A, that is John is false, as in the result is false. So you add not. If not A equal to B, you bring incorrect. But if A equals to B, it's like when we had A if A equal to B and had an else statement. So basically what this else statement meant was if not A equal to B, space it. Okay, so correct. So what I basically meant was if the output came out here true and if the output came out here false, this is what should come out. I can also relate to that again by let's say we have a code that says continue game and equals to true. So this while loop will continue if the game is equals to true. So we can say print one, print one. So it will keep on printing this one until this game turns to false. But so far this game is forever going to remain in true because we have no option. So if I don't stop it, it can run into an infinite loop. Let me just stop this. So let's make this better. Let's create another variable and call it count and equals to 0. So will now be like count plus equals to 1, which is also the same thing as that is also the same thing as count equals to count plus 1. Sorry, count plus 1. So it's either you write this the long form or you write this the short form. So I love going for the short form, save time and yourself the stress. So count, it will keep on adding, so we say print count. Okay, but let's start from 0. And then you can put an if statement if count is greater than let's put 20, continue game will be equals to false. Now this is where else you can just do continue. Now this is where Booleans plays into very well. You're like you're playing a game and then if the person okay get this to is greater than 20, then you end it by doing false. And meanwhile this while loop relies on this continue game to continue being true. So if this while loop, if this continue game ever changes to become false, like changes to become false, then the while loop ends. So that is another way of writing this code. While continue game equal to true, you can just be like while continue game, continue doing this thing. But if it changes to false, then the whole thing ends. Let me run that for you to understand and see. 1 to 20, it reach 20, 0 to 20. I can also be like, while not continue game, while not continue game. So we're changing this continue game to false, and until it reaches 20, turn this to true. So that's what I was explaining, that while not continue game is another way of saying while continue game equals to false. Instead of writing this, you just do while not continue game. So let's run this 1 to 20. So I hope from this little exercise, you've understood how the Boolean data type works, and you've learned some other functions in Python. There's another function that is called instance. Okay, so we have instance. Now, let's say x is an integer. Let's go for 24. And then this is instance. What its function is, it is to return whether an object of an instance of a class, or let me just put it the way I understand, it is to check if the variable, or the data imputed here, which is x, which is the variable for 24. So another way of saying, and also say if 24 is an integer, if 24 is an integer or not. If you run this code, okay, what is to come out is true, because 24 is an integer, but change this to str, and what is to come out here is false. So same goes if you still use the variable x int true, x string false. So that is what this function does. So you can now be like, maybe the users have to only input numbers in here. You can be like, if is instance equals to x, what the user imputed, and integer, the preferred data type. So if is instance equals to true, you print, let's say, continue. Else, if it's not true, you print wrong input. Wrong input, and run it, continue. So what if I input in a string of hello and run this code, wrong input? So I hope this extra exercise have helped you understand a lot about the Boolean data type. I hope it helped you understood how it works, how you can use it in your code, and so much more. I really appreciate you watching to the end of the video, and I hope you keep on learning. Have a nice day, y'all.